So we've talked about some ways that we're going to do this with students. The next thing, we talked about responses. The next thing we're going to talk about is this other option over here that says create Journey. So Journey is not only an awesome rock band from the 70s and 80s, but also a super cool activity that you can use on Recap. So we'll click here where it says create Journey, and that's going to bring you to a little more intense interface than what we saw with responses, and that's for good reason. This is more where you'll develop like a learning module, basically a set of resources and links, readings, videos, other stuff that students will consult as they come to a greater understanding about something that you want them to be exploring. So Journey is like not just, I want to know what you think. It's, I'm going to facilitate you exploring a bigger, larger task. So let's talk about what that looks like. You will start off with a question. So what is the goal here? What do you want students to understand more? So you might say, what is something you are curious about? That's kind of a big open-ended question, so I want students to explore that a little bit. Next, you will record a video to go along with that. So I will click the record button down here. This one's, you'll notice, is shorter. Hey guys, one thing that I'm really excited about in class this year is facilitating you and answering questions about things that you want to know more about. So what are you curious about? What are things that make your mind really get going? And what are some things that you like to explore further in class this year? So that's what I want us to think about as we explore this journey today is what makes you curious? What are some things you want to know more about? And this will be just like what we did from before. You can review it. You can come in here and look at it. I'm just going to go ahead and say next. So the next part is where you can add paths, and what paths are just supplementary materials, maybe some questions you want them to consider, some links that you want them to visit. So I might say check out TED Talks at this link for some ideas about things people have passion for, and then I could put a link and I could say tedtalks.com. That's not the URL, but I don't want to go look it up. And then add step, I could say watch this video about my passion, and then I could go on and add a link and it will say youtube.com/Mr. Howard rocks guitar. Add. So now I have all these chunks of content that students will then explore. I could also read this article, and then it could be a link to an article on newsela.com/robotics article, and then add that. And so then you'll see what this looks like in a second. But anyway, those are just going to be content pieces students will consult on this process. Drag and drop an image here to basically this is going to be what preview image the kids will see. It's kind of like a cover for this journey. It'll be the first thing they see, so it needs to you want it to go along with it. You can get on your computer and just browse here. This will make some sense here. I'll pick the recap badge for this one, and then you have some options down here. What Recap wants you to do is they want you to publish this stuff in their, and I'll talk more about this here in a second. So once you pick these things, you have to publish on Recap Discover, and that's actually a great resource for you that I'll show you more in a second. So after you pick your content and your grade level, you can assign this, and then of course you can come in and pick your classes. So I'll pick this class. You have the choice to publish this or not. I'm going to not publish this one because it's not very good. But if you made one that was great, you could publish it and other teachers could then use it. So I've selected my classes. I can then go in there and select specific students. So if I only have, like if this is a more advanced topic for only 4 or 5 kids in my class, I can pick those students specifically. Since I only have one kid, I'm just going to go ahead and pick this kid. And this will have all of my kids who are going to get this. So I'm going to click send. And so now that I have sent that out to students, I'll pull over their page. So here's my student page, and they're going to go into their class. And then to find this, a kid's going to go to where it says Ignite. And inside of Ignite, they're going to see that journey. And so they'll click on that. And then this is going to be kind of taking them through these processes. They can click this video. They can see me addressing their question. And then they will just go through each step. So this step says, check out this video. They'll watch this video on YouTube. They will check out this article on article.com. And then they will go and post something on Padlet here. So then after doing all those learning tasks, they would work on responding to that question. So that would be like something that they would be working on. It was more driven by things that they're passionate or curious about. There's not necessarily a place for them to submit something. This is more a structure for you to facilitate something that students will be working on. So that's a good way if you want to kind of go above and beyond the normal responses, how you can use Recap to structure a more in-depth investigation of something in class and having them use this tool to structure that. So that is Journeys, and Journeys is a great thing if you want to, like I said, have more in-depth tasks. Next, we will talk about how students can go further in using this tool and a few other things that you can use Recap for.